Hi everyone, so this is Carmelo. Carmelo, say hi.
Hi.
Yeah, so Carmelo, how old are you?
6.5.
6.5. So do you want to hear the story about the day you were born? Alright, so Carmelo is my oldest. He is, like he said, 6.5, and he was all of my first. That's what I always say. With Carmelo, I learned so much. He was all of my first as a mother, and it was super special. We did the induction the first day. I think it was like 37 weeks one day. So I went in for my induction, and I remember the last meal that I had at the house, because I wasn't sure what was going to happen, was a steak. Pop made me a steak before going to the hospital. And, you know, you just never really know how long you're going to be in labor for. So I had a steak, and it was so good. And then I went to the hospital, and they got me ready for my induction. And I'll tell you more. Let's see, where do I begin? Carmelo, I got pregnant with Carmelo in 2014. Yep, 2014. And my husband, then boyfriend, and I decided that it was time that we wanted to have a child. We weren't really sure why, but we just knew that we were ready. And we weren't financially ready. And we were renting, and I think I might have been working like maybe 10 hours a week, and we were just getting by. But it was something that we were ready to dedicate ourselves to. We were ready to take this step in our relationship. So we decided to have Carmelo. I remember the day I found out I was pregnant with Carmelo. I was at the movies with friends of ours, and I got nauseous from the smell of popcorn, and I just knew something was different. And I came home and I took a pregnancy test, and I remember walking out the bathroom, and I looked at Mello and I was like, I'm pregnant. And he was like, I'm excited, but you don't look excited, so I'm not sure how you want me to respond. And I was like, I was just in disbelief. I was like, oh my god, we're pregnant. And I remember being just so scared and nervous, and things changed. During my pregnancy with Carmelo, I started off my pregnancy, I was super skinny, and I never worked out, I never did anything, I never really ate well or nothing like that. So the pregnancy progressed. I started to develop spots, vision spots, like just black dots, and I was pretty early on in my pregnancy. I think I might have been 14 weeks ish when the spots started. My blood pressure started to increase around that time as well, and my weight gain just started going through the roof, and I wasn't really eating anything out of my norm, but I was gaining weight, and I started to feel so disgusting, and I don't know, didn't feel like myself, and I struggled a lot with like body dysmorphia. I struggled a lot with my image and just like how I looked. During my pregnancy with Carmelo, I was told that I must have been having a girl because she was sucking the beauty out of me. I was asked if I was having twins because I was, in quotes, so large. I was told a lot of hurtful things. I remember somebody's like, oh my god girl, you gained so much weight, and I was like, that's because I'm 4 months pregnant or 5 months pregnant. So yeah, that would be why. During my pregnancy, and I just struggled. At 16 weeks, my pregnancy was Carmelo, and I was getting a craving for butter pecan ice cream. Weird, I know. And that was the first time that I felt movement with him. It was like nothing I've ever felt before. I remember being so happy and like, oh my god, there's something there. Midway, like halfway, about 20 weeks, I started to feel a little more movement. At that point, we did find out on Father's Day that year that we were having a boy, and Carmelo's actually named after his father, his middle name after my father, and then obviously my husband's our last name. I was pre-eclamptic, and it wasn't improving. At this point, I already had been on bed rest now for I got put on bed rest with Carmelo at 27 weeks. So I wasn't actually even allowed to stand up for longer than 10 minutes at a time. It was a sad time for me because I was excited. So I get to triage and I get admitted and they induce me. So the night that I got there, I spent resting and just getting as much sleep, and they watched him and his movement. Woke up the next morning and I was contracting and progressing decent. I was about 3 centimeters dilated at this point and was moving the groove in. I was relaxing. I didn't ask for I had a drip, like a pain reliever drip type thing, so I was able to kind of balance my pain out that way, and that worked out great. Middle of the day, I get a doctor coming in to check my progression, and they decided that it was time to put a balloon insert. So what this was a balloon that they put to inflate, to dilate me a little bit more, I guess. That was pretty much the best explanation I got while I was there. And they did that, and that was awkward, slightly painful, but nothing you can't muster through in the midst of having labor. Okay. Then I went to sleep, and they gave me Dilaudid, if I'm not mistaken. I'm not entirely sure. Yeah, Dilaudid, and I went to sleep. I woke up slightly hallucinating, slightly high, and my husband was cracking up. I was having like conversations about nothing important, and then I got up. Evidently I wasn't supposed to, so I got up and I went to what I thought was to go pee, and I got to the bathroom and my water broke, and it didn't just break, it poured out like Niagara Falls. It literally, never seen anything like that. It was literally splashing out like a faucet, and I was like, holy crap, what do I do, what do I do? So I'm standing there over the toilet, I'm like, Mello, what do I do? And he's like, I was standing outside of the room and it's just pouring out. He's like, holy crap. He's like, I'm like, what do I do? And he's like, I don't know, go stand over the toilet. So I go and he gets somebody, and they're like, no, she needs to be in bed. I get in bed, they check me, and his umbilical cord slipped. His umbilical cord slipped, I'm assuming from the gravity of me getting up and the water breaking. I was still contracting, and my contractions were about every minute apart at this point, and he was coming. And for every contraction that I had, Carmelo's heart rate would drop significantly. It was at that point that they realized that I was going to need an emergency C-section. I was taken from labor and delivery straight to the OR, where I wasn't given an opportunity to be awake because it needed to happen really quick. And it was. They rushed me right over. I was approving paperwork as I was getting pushed from department to department to get to where I needed to go. I was answering questions for the anesthesiologist while contracting. I'm crying. I'm every single thing you could think of. I'm screaming. I'm looking at my midwife and I'm like, just answer these questions for me. I'm in so much pain. And at this point, I haven't had an epidural, and they couldn't give me one because I was going under. So they took me and they put me under, and I remember waking up in recovery, and I looked at Mello and I said, is he okay? And how much did he weigh? And Mello answered, and he hadn't at that point. They handed him the baby, and it was the first time he actually ever held a newborn, and he didn't know what to do. So he stayed still without moving and practically breathing until I woke up, and he was able to step forward and hand me the baby. Carmelo's delivery was empowering. I remember recovering from my C-section and thinking like, wow, it's amazing what your body can do. And it was at that point that I stopped caring about my bounce back, my postpartum body, and at that point I started focusing on the best approach to be a mom with Carmelo and my recovery for a surgery. I had never had surgery at this point, and it was an adjustment. So I would highly suggest, if you are doing a birth plan, to prepare for things that even you didn't think it was possible. And I could tell you 100 stories and you can hear 100 others, but every birth is different and unique to that child and to the mother at that point in their lives. I don't have any regrets in my progression and my labor for Carmelo, and I enjoyed it and it was an experience. I may not have gotten to push my child out, but I did experience the labor, the water breaking, and those type of things that still, you know, you put in a lot of work. I was in labor, I think 23 hours with Carmelo, and he was worth every moment, every minute, every pain. And I remember looking at him and thinking, oh my gosh, he's beautiful. And that's the part of birth that no one can prepare you for. You can watch 100 YouTube videos, but no one will prepare you for that moment that you see your little one for the first time. It is like nothing you could ever imagine. So if you're nervous, if you're anxious, it's a journey, and we are strong enough to get through any type of pain. You know, women are so much stronger and more capable than they ever could imagine, and it's in that moment of delivering that you realize how easy it is for you to conquer the world, you know. So anyways, everyone, that was my story on how I delivered my son. It was so amazing, and I wish I can do it again, to be honest with you, to have all the first times again. But now he's 6.5, and my first times with him are a little bit different. They look a little different, but they're still just as beautiful. So thank you so much. And if you are new here, thank you so much for staying and listening, and I hope you guys enjoyed today's video. If you haven't already, please don't forget to like this video and subscribe. And if you really want to be on point, don't forget to hit that bell so that you get notifications for my next uploads. I am being summoned. It's been great, everyone.
Bye.